Imagine this is the middle of the night. You're forced to defend yourself in a life or death situation. But when the dust settles, it's not your attacker on trial, it's you. Self defense. Two words that seem simple but have led to some of the most shocking legal battles in modern history. For some, it's a right, for others, it's a last resort. But one thing for sure, self defense cases can be full of twists that leave the world stunned. Today, on The Law Exposed, I am breaking down some of the most controversial cases from around the world, where everyday people took extreme measures to protect themselves and faced consequences they never saw coming. Stay tuned for courtroom drama, surprising verdicts, and something you might not expect.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
The Oscar Pistorius trial. February 14th, 2013. South African Olympian Oscar Pistorius.
They call him the Blade Runner. Born with deformed limbs, his running blades may be the most controversial pieces of equipment in sports.
If it was such a technologically advanced piece of equipment that many of the people you interview claim it is, then why isn't everybody running close to the times I'm running on it?
South Africa's Oscar Pistorius has made history by becoming the first man to run in the Paralympics and Olympics, and he did it in flying style. The man dubbed the Blade Runner came second in his 400 metres heat, crossing the line in 45.44 seconds and comfortably securing his place in the semi-finals. The 25-year-old described the race as mind-blowing, a sentiment shared by many of his fellow athletes, who dismissed a long-running disagreement over whether his prosthetic legs were in fact an advantage.
Not just the blades are an issue. Some say he's also lighter without lower limbs, and so potentially faster.
That debate will always be alive, and there will always be a percentage of people that have the opinion that think I shouldn't be able to run. But my job is not to entertain that, and my job is to train harder.
There's another criticism, that Pistorius is a novelty act, a distraction. An idea rejected by friends like you and Thomas, a silver medalist at the Atlanta Games. Of all the battles athletes fight to get to an Olympic Games, none has been greater than those fought by Oscar Pistorius. He is the only athlete here who doesn't just take off his street shoes and put on his track shoes to run. He takes off his street legs and puts on his track legs. The question is not whether the artificial legs slow him down, but whether they speed him up. He finished second in this pre-Olympic warm-up meet in Italy.
Once celebrated as a national hero, found himself in the center of a horrifying tragedy when he shot and killed his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp. Pistorius claimed he thought she was an intruder, acting on impulse to protect himself from danger lurking in the night. But as investigators peeled back the details, the world had one question. Was it really self-defense or something darker?
In the court affidavit signed on February 19, 2013, Pistorius said he was watching television in bed while Riva Steenkamp practiced yoga after a quiet dinner together. The couple fell asleep sometime after 10 p.m. Pistorius awoke a few hours later. He brought a fan inside the bedroom and was closing the balcony doors when he heard noises from the bathroom. Pistorius feared an intruder had entered. He grabbed his 9mm parabellum from underneath his bed and headed to the bathroom. He shouted at the intruder and yelled at Steenkamp to call the police. Pistorius saw that the bathroom windows were open and heard movement inside the toilet room. He was too scared to switch the light on. He fired 4 shots at the toilet room door. He screamed for Steenkamp again, but there was no response. He then moved backwards out of the bathroom. He reached the bedroom and found Steenkamp was not in bed. Pistorius returned to the bathroom and called Steenkamp's name. He tried to enter the toilet room, but it had been locked. He returned to the bedroom, opened the balcony doors, and screamed for help. Pistorius put on his prosthetic limbs, ran back to the bathroom, and tried to kick the toilet door open. The lights were switched on at this point. He then grabbed a cricket bat from the bedroom and smashed the toilet door. A panel broke off, and Pistorius found a key on the floor. He used it to open the door. Steenkamp was slumped over on the toilet. Pistorius carried his girlfriend out of the bathroom and phoned property manager Johan Stander to call an ambulance.
The court initially ruled it was a culpable homicide, a tragic accident. But after an appeal, that verdict was overturned to murder. stirring a storm of controversy worldwide. This case highlighted how fear and the perception of threat can complicate justice in self-defense claims. Pistorius' trial became a media frenzy, polarizing South Africa and beyond. Some viewed him as a man who acted out of fear, while others believed he got away with murder for years. The case became a mirror for South Africa's deep concerns about crime, privilege, and the limits of self-defense. But could this be really a self-defense, or it was a murder? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Joe Horn and the Castle Doctrine. November 14th, 2007, Pasadena, Texas, USA. When Joe Horn, a retired engineer, noticed two men breaking into his neighbor's home, he dialed 911 like anyone else would. But instead of waiting for police, he grabbed his gun and confronted them. Despite pleas from the dispatcher to stay indoors, he shot both men dead, later claiming they came toward him in a threatening manner. Was it self-defense or vigilantism? Was he trying to be Batman?
Well, over there, I would assume, I hope not.
Okay. I mean, you know your neighbors?
No, I really don't know these neighbors. I know the neighbors on the other side really well. I can assure you if it'd been their house, I'd already done something.
Over there.
I understand that, okay, but I have a right to protect myself too, sir, and
Yes,
you
you
understand
do.
that.
Yes,
And the
you
laws
do.
have been changed in this country since September the 1st, and you know it and I know it. I have a
understand.
right to protect myself.
I'm right there
And a
with you.
shotgun is a legal weapon. It's not an illegal weapon.
You're going to get yourself shot if you go outside that house with a gun.
You
I
wanna
don't
make
care
a
what
bet?
you think. Okay,
I'm gonna
stay
kill
in the
'em.
house.
They're what getting away.
That's all right. Property's not worth killing someone over. Okay?
Texas Castle Doctrine gives homeowners the right to protect themselves on their property, extending even to neighboring homes under specific circumstances. Horn was never charged, setting off a firestorm of debate. For many, this was like a cut and dried case of standing one's ground. For others, it felt like the Wild West is brought to the suburbs. Talking about the public reaction to this, some saw Horn as a hero, while others labeled him as a vigilante. This case heightened the national conversation between stand your grounds and the extent of self-defense rights, sparking heated debates in courtrooms and coffee shops alike. Was Joe Horn defending his community, or did he cross a line? Richard Osborn-Brooks and the Home Invasion Dilemma. April 2018, London, UK.
78-year-old homeowner has been arrested on suspicion of murder following the death of a suspected burglar at his home. The police said they were called, and the scene they described is that one suspect, armed with a screwdriver, forced this 78-year-old homeowner into his kitchen. A struggle ensued, during which one of the men sustained a stab wound to the upper body, believed to be the suspected burglar. He was taken to hospital and died in the early hours of this morning. They were unable to confirm whether that suspected burglar had been stabbed with the screwdriver, but right now, the 78-year-old pensioner has been arrested on suspicion of murder.
When 78-year-old Richard Osborn-Brooks was awakened by the sounds of intruders in his London home, he acted on instinct. Confronting the men, he ended up stabbing one fatally. Though unreleased without charges, the case triggered a public debate about the right to protect one's home.
The gentleman in question was called Henry Vincent. He was apparently wanted by the police for a number of burglaries, and his whole family have been apparently involved in criminal activity. He is a traveller. Whether that's got anything to do with it, you know, it's up to you really. There's been masses of floral tributes outside by the travellers. The travellers do it. I think we all do it. You know, when someone's knocked off a bike or a car crash, people always put floral tributes. But I think people are getting up in arms about it because the fact this guy was a criminal. He was threatening the pensioner with this screwdriver, and basically he's a criminal that's died. The people are going mad about it because they think it's a disgrace, even to the fact that someone decided to rip the shrines off.
These are scumbags! Scumbags!
In the UK, the law allows reasonable force in self-defense, and Osborn-Brooks was cleared, but his case quickly became a symbol of a divided public, unsure where to draw the line between defense and violence.
Cut to the quick about what this scumbag did.
So,
right, this guy, he goes to a house
with a screwdriver
where there's two pensioners. One, Richard Osborn-Brooks, is 78. His wife, Maureen, is in bed because she's very sick and he's a carer for her, suffering from dementia. And this little scumbag comes in armed with a screwdriver to rob and terrorise them. And in the scuffle that follows, he happens to fall on his screwdriver and die. Why should we feel a shred of sympathy? And the idea that we then have to celebrate his life right outside the scene of this despicable crime.
You don't have to
and
celebrate
that this
his life
poor
at
bloke
all.
can't even go back and live with his wife in the house that they lived in. I think it's disgusting.
Talking about public reaction, this case became a flashpoint, with many seeing Osborn-Brooks as an everyday man, like every man protecting his home. But it also led to discussions on where to draw the line in self-defense cases, especially for older or vulnerable individuals. These cases show the unique complexity of self-defense laws around the world. While some countries embrace stand-your-ground principles, others require a duty to retreat, sparking endless debates over how far people should go to protect themselves. What counts as reasonable force? This varies widely based on location, culture, and even the specific case details. What seems reasonable in one country may be criminal in another. When does self-defense become too much? Can we truly judge what someone else was thinking in a moment of fear? Like, these cases also become a loophole for people. People commit serious crimes and they take advantage of these, for which some genuine cases suffer. These cases make us ask uncomfortable questions. Is the law always fair? And how do we balance protecting the innocent with holding people accountable? These cases make one thing clear. Self-defense isn't just about fighting back. It's a legal and moral tightrope. Every decision, every single split-second choice faces scrutiny in a courtroom. And the verdicts have impacts that stretch far beyond the individuals involved. So what do you think? In these cases, was self-defense justified, or did they go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you're fascinated by the twists and turns of legal controversies, make sure to subscribe to The Law Exposed for more deep dives into the cases that leave us questioning the justice itself.